Okay. We have everybody?
Yes, every council member is on Zoom, Mayor Faria.
Okay. Then we shall get started. Get my volume up just a touch. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to the special city council meeting of August 25th, 2022. We're here via Zoom. And to get through the Zoom system, the following alternatives are available to members of the public who wish to watch the meeting and to provide comments to the city council before and during the meeting. Audio video broadcast. City council meeting can be accessed in real time from your computer, tablet, or smartphone with the following links. You can watch it on channel 96 on cable, or you can watch it on YouTube, or you can join through the Zoom system. The meeting ID is 819-6323-6084. And then how to comment during a public meeting. Public comments will be taken at the time of each eligible agenda item. If you would like to submit written comments, you can submit them by email to cityclerk@losbanos.org or drop them off at City Hall, 520 J Street. If you are a Zoom video conference participant, to comment by Zoom video conference, click the raise your hand button to request to speak when public comment is being taken on an eligible agenda item. You will then be unmuted during your turn and allowed to make public comments. After the allotted time, you will then be remuted. If you're a phone participant, to comment by phone, please call on one of the above listed phone numbers. They're listed on the city's website. You'll be prompted to raise your hand by pressing *9 to request to speak. Public comment is being taken on an eligible agenda item. You will then be unmuted during your turn and allowed to make public comments. Then press *6 to unmute yourself in order to speak. After the allotted time, you will then be remuted. Important things to remember during your public comment period. All attendees shall be muted upon entry to the meeting. Please do not raise your hand if the item currently being heard is not the item you wish to speak on. We'll call for public testimony on each item individually. When the item you're interested in is called and public speakers are invited to raise their hands, raise your hand, and then we will call you in the order your hands were raised. You may, of course, speak on multiple items, but your comments during each item must address the item currently under discussion. Speakers attempting to speak about items other than the item currently under consideration will be muted and asked to wait for the item they're here to speak about to be called. If there's any disruption in the meeting, the live feed to YouTube and channel 96 will be paused for a short period of time. Once the disruption is corrected, the live feed will resume and the meeting will continue where it left off. Take a little water here. All right, so we will call the meeting to order at 2:03 p.m. and ask Police Chief Breezy to lead us in the pledge. Do we have Police Chief Breezy with us?
Yes, Mayor, I'm here.
There he is. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief. Roll call, Ms. Melanie.
Jones,
Present.
Lambert,
Here.
Lewis,
Here.
Lamas,
Here.
Faria.
Here, and I want to note the reason I was gone is I was tending my sister as her husband was on the precipice of life and death. Thanks to the surgeons and the technology at Stanford University, he's still with us. And so everyone who's been praying for us and sending us those positive thoughts seems to be working. Let's hope it continues. Now, we will move to item 4, consideration of approval of agenda. Do I have a motion? Oh, raise hand. Okay, there we go. Ms. Lewis? Go ahead and unmute.
Thank you.
Back to the
I'd like to
Zoom
make
stuff.
a motion to approve the agenda as submitted.
Thank you. Do I have a second? You can just open your mic and chime in if you want.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Yamas. I have a motion by Councilmember Lewis, second by Councilmember Yamas to approve the agenda as submitted. Roll call, Ms. Melanie?
Jones,
No.
Lambert,
No.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lamas,
Yes.
Faria.
Yes. Motion carried 3-2 with Lambert and Jones dissenting. Public forum. Members of the public may address the city council members on any item of public interest that is within the jurisdiction of the city council. This includes agenda and non-agenda items. No action will be taken on non-agenda items. Speakers are limited to a 5-minute presentation. Detailed guidelines on how to participate and make comments are listed on page 1 through 3 of this agenda. Comments received prior to the meeting will be read into the record at the appropriate time of the city council meeting. First, we'll check to see if there's anyone online on Zoom or in the phone, in an electronic meeting here, who would like to chime in, would like to speak in the public forum. Raise your hand. No, seeing no hands raised, we'll go to Ms. Maloney to see if we have any written comments.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do have one comment that we received prior to the last meeting, but it got held up in spam. So I'm
Okay.
going to read it right now. Good evening, members of the council and Mayor Faria. My name is Kimberly Subio Flores, and I am a third-generation resident of Los Banos. I serve as a pastor on staff at Bethel Community Church and as one of your Parks and Rec commissioners. As most of you know, Bethel operates a food pantry that serves anyone in need in the surrounding area, including our homeless community. They come to us for food, hygiene items, showers, and to connect for other services they are in need of. I find it interesting that once again, our community and council members are choosing to share together in a small mindset and not in my backyard mentality. Several years ago, when funding was secured by local organizations and sites were promised for a homeless shelter, we were told time and time again, not in my backyard. That was 15 years ago. Los Banos has always been a small town. I would like to just serve a reminder to everyone that being a small town does not require a small mindset. In fact, I prefer to call Los Banos a growing town and would love to be able to say that we also have a growth mindset. I have watched our council meetings as complaints have been waged against our homeless community. And I think what is most disheartening to me is that we have forgotten that these are people. While the concerns voiced may be valid, they are part of our community and the encampment is their home. In saying that, I would like to remind the council and mayor that it is your job to represent us, the residents of Los Banos, and like it or not, you also represent every single one of those residents at the containment area, as well as every other encampment in our city, not just house residents. I would hope that you have not willingly neglected to represent that segment of our community, and if you have, that you would choose to rectify your lack of representation. I know that it sounded like a grand plan to send code enforcement to round them all up and herd them into the containment area, but now we see there were flaws in that plan. Instead of collaborating and correcting those flaws, we are wanting once again to herd them all up and drive them out again. So let's just repeat the same mistake twice. Where will they go? Do you have any answers? I don't understand how any of this can sit well with anyone. I implore each of you to move from those cushy chairs in the council chambers and actually visit the containment area and speak to the residents there before you drive them out like cattle. I know that you find it much harder to do so when you actually have to look them in the eye and hear their stories. At the last council meeting, I heard our wonderful mayor say that Los Banos is a town of families, and he is absolutely correct. We are a town of families, and every one of those residents in the containment area has a family. And as a resident of Los Banos, they become our family. We are one, we must not forget that. I understand that $1 million is earmarked for the animal shelter administrative buildings in the upcoming budget. I am an animal lover, and I feel the funds earmarked for the animal shelter are necessary, but I find it appalling that we are so concerned with the animal shelter But for our human residents without shelter, we have no answers. We need answers. Form a commission, collaborate with those who've done it well, and formulate some plausible solutions to the neediest among us. We can do better. I charge each of you to be a part of the solution alongside the organizations already doing their best to help. We need to find a feasible temporary solution for our current homeless community until a permanent shelter facility can be built and staffed. Funds must be earmarked, grants must be written, funding must be acquired, and we have to help our homeless community. We must not wait any longer. As Councilwoman Lewis stated at the last council meeting, you must do what we would be a good testament to being a council member. You cannot overlook this anymore. I know the work will be long and hard, but it must not be avoided. As she so eloquently spoke in regards to the animal shelter, times are changing. We need to change with the times to be better. So it is with our homeless community as well. I know that venturing to the accountants may not be something you are comfortable with, but our team at Bethel would love to take you out and interact with those who are unsheltered. We never know, one of those in the homeless community may very well have the solution. If you aren't able to do that, join us at Bethel any Friday at 9 a.m. I'm sure our homeless community would love to see them too. We must remember that our homeless community is the least of these, and our lives should overflow with mercy, love, and compassion. May Las Banos be known for that. Thank you for your time, Kimberly Subia Flores. And those are the only comments I received.
Thank you, Ms. Maloney. Hearing that, and hearing no further comment, we will close the public forum and go to item 6. Selection of an executive search firm to assist the city council in the recruitment of a new city manager. And Mayor Pro Tem Lambert had asked that we all be present for this. And so that's why I called this special meeting, so I could be. There are only 2 firms in the running now. One of them has a great deal of experience and seated many city managers. The other does not have that much experience. Usually I take motions from the floor, but this is a special meeting and it's being held because I couldn't be here last week. So I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve Coffin Associates, to select Coffin Associates as the search firm for the new city manager. I would, Cheryl.
Should we have a discussion on this first?
After a second, we can. Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Lewis, I'll second the motion.
Okay, a motion by the mayor, second by Councilmember Lewis, and Mr. Jones requested discussion. Mr. Jones.
Yes, I'm not in favor for either one of them. I'm sure they're great at what they do. But here's why. In less than 3 months, we'll have a new mayor and possibly a new council member. And if we are being ethical about what is in the best interest of our residents, waiting until after we swear in a new mayor and possibly a new council member is not an unreasonable request. According to law, our interim city manager has 960 hours that will carry us well into January. We'll have plenty of time after the election results to give direction to staff. The only reason to rush to hiring a new city manager is for absolute reckless control. But let's just say council ignores better advice and hires a new city manager before a new mayor and possibly a new city council member is sworn in. We can only assume that by the last meeting of this year, that there will be a closed session item on the agenda that is titled Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release, pursuant to Government Code 54957B. We'll go into closed session with the city manager and we'll come out without one. We will not publicly state any specific reason for terminating that city manager, but we'll act serious while telling the public the Brown Act prohibits us from discussing it. Just know that every decision you make from here forward will determine if you're really for the best interests of our city or if you just love wasting taxpayers' hard-earned money. And Councilmember Yamas, your comment in the Las Banos Enterprise is correct. Las Banos is at a crossroad, and you, along with Councilmember Lewis and Mayor Tom Faria, put us here. Any reason you give to justify proceeding moving forward with a new city manager is basically like pissing down the backs of the taxpayers and then trying to convince them it's rain. Now do the right thing and postpone this selection of the recruiting firm.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Got a motion to have a second. We've had discussion. We'll call for the vote. Ms. Maloney, roll call.
Jones,
No.
Lambert,
No.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lamas,
Yes.
Korea.
Yes, motion carried 3-2. Jones, Mr. Jones and Mr. Lambert dissenting. Motion is carried.
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Lewis?
yes, since the vote is over, there isn't anything on the agenda for council member comment. But I would like to say this, whether we're sitting here as appointed or elected, we have a duty to the residents of Los Banos to do our job and to do it until the day that we don't sit here. I think it's reckless on the council members' part to read a statement and accuse the rest of us of not doing our job and being reckless. We will move forward, and the city will work with the council to do what it has to do to find a new city manager. I don't see a reason why, if we find one, that there should be a meeting in December to dismiss someone unless that's the intention of the council that will be sitting at that time, which will probably be a majority different than what we have now. But it's typical, as it has been since we have been moving forward with this process, to have negative slandering statements thrown at certain council members. And I think it's inappropriate, and it doesn't serve the community any purpose, and it doesn't show goodwill and good judgment on any council member that does it to another one for no reason other than their own personal agenda. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Mr. Vaughn?
I would just remind the chair that there is a resolution pending with that decision to select Coffin Associates, and the resolution is 6542, which would allow the interim city manager to enter to a professional services agreement. So I think the order of business would be to call for a motion on that as well.
Okay, very good. Chair will entertain a motion to approve City Council Resolution number 6542, authorizing the interim city manager to execute a professional services agreement for city manager recruitment services. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Lewis, I'll approve that motion as read.
Thank you, Ms. Lewis. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that.
Mr. Yamas, I have a second. So we have a motion to approve City Council Resolution 6542. Motion by Ms. Lewis, second by Mr. Yamas. Roll call, Ms. Maloney.
Jones,
No.
Lambert,
No.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lamas,
Yes.
Korea.
Yes, motion carried 3-2. Mr. Jones and Mr. Lambert dissenting. Now the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, so moved. Councilmember Lewis.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor, Yamas, second.
Thank you. I have a motion by Ms. Lewis, second by Mr. Yamas to adjourn the meeting. Roll call, Ms. Maloney.
Jones,
Yes.
Lambert,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Lamas,
Yes.
Korea.
Yes. Motion adjourned at 2:19 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Have a great afternoon. Take care.